So this one's a pretty interesting article from Bloomberg saying that apparently Nintendo has the potential to produce basically 20 more million units by March next year for the Nintendo Switch 2. There's some interesting stuff in here as well, also regarding who's making the actual chips for the Switch 2, potential OLED screens in the future, a couple different tidbits in this one. So if you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe for more. Do a variety of Nintendo-based content here on the channel. Let's go ahead and jump straight into this. Not going to waste any time. We're going to head over to Bloomberg right now. So it says Nintendo turns to Samsung to make chips, ramp up Switch 2 output. So essentially we can see, kind of going through here, Nintendo has turned to Samsung Electronics Co. to help make the main chips for the Switch 2, and they say it's a move that may help the Japanese company ramp up production of the gaming console enough to sell a higher than projected 20 million units by March 2026, which is pretty great number. So again, talking about, this is a win for Samsung, trying to compete with the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., making the chips for World Electronics, et cetera, et cetera. So again, Samsung's the one making this chip. It says the Korean company is now working on a customized chip or processor designed by NVIDIA Corp for the Switch 2 using its 8 nanometer node, the people said, asking for anonymity as the matter is private, apparently. So the production pace should be fast enough for Nintendo to ship more than 20 million units of the console by March next year, the people said. Samsung can ramp up further if needed, though much would depend on capacity at hardware assemblers, including Foxconn Technology Group. Samsung, which already supplies memory chips and displays to Nintendo, has struggled to compete with TSMC in contract chip making. So this latest deal reported earlier by Kazun Biz, I don't want to say that, is the validation of Samsung's contract chip making division, which once hoped to grow. Anyways, all this other stuff about Samsung. So again, this is a big thing, obviously, for Samsung in chip making. A little bit lower, it says the Nintendo spokesperson said the company doesn't disclose its suppliers and won't provide production information beyond President Shuntaro Furukawa comments during the company's results announcement. The company's projection of sales for sales of 15 million units factored in a tariff impact of tens of billion yen on profit this year, but Furukawa stressed at the time that the figure didn't reflect supply constraints. Representatives for Samsung and NVIDIA declined to comment. So I guess this is people with like insider information or something that aren't, I guess, not really supposed to be saying this. So, I mean, is it official? No, but I guess take it with a grain of salt kind of thing. But interestingly enough, they also note, obviously Samsung has been a prime supplier to Nintendo, providing NAND, flash memory, and OLED screens to the Switch. The Korean company has also pushed for OLED panels to be used when Nintendo refreshes the Switch 2 in future, another person said. So this person, who apparently has some insider information, is saying that Samsung is pushing the, Nintendo and encouraging them, or, urging them, whatever, to use OLED panels. So again, basically do what the Nintendo Switch 1 did. Will Nintendo do that? Will they do an OLED version? I don't know. OLED panels are pretty pricey, and from what everybody is saying about whatever they're using, it might be like an IPS panel, like an LCD or an LED, IPS panel. Excuse me, IPS panels typically, like I have actually both my monitors are IPS, they have a really good color range. So even though they're not OLED, they're way more vibrant and more color accurate than your typical just kind of normal screen. So that's probably why people are saying that the Switch 2 has a very vibrant looking screen, even if it's not an OLED, screen, if you will. So basically, to summarize, this is some kind of insider information, some kind of leak kind of information, not official from Nintendo or Samsung or anyone, but people that apparently have some close connections on the inside that Bloomberg is reporting, saying that Nintendo has partnered with Samsung to produce, the main chips for the Switch 2, which could help Nintendo sell more than 20 million units by March 2026. Samsung working on this customized chip that was designed by NVIDIA, which uses an 8 nanometer node that, of course, Also, Samsung being able to ramp up production if need be, depending on, capacity and hardware assemblers and whatnot as well. And then, again, this is a good thing for Samsung if this is true, because Samsung's been kind of competing with the TSMC in contract chip making, things like that as well. So that's kind of like, I guess, a summarized version, if you will. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Be interesting to see if Nintendo can ramp up up to past like 20 million sales by launch. I mean, pre-orders been flying off shelves. Obviously, people have been struggling to get some pre-orders. Well, for the most part, I think a lot of people have been able to get their pre-orders, but there's a lot. I think there's still a lot more people that want to get this at launch that just can't right now. And it's also being said from some retailers and stuff that they're probably going to have some additional stock at launch that are not exclusive to like pre-order. So if you do go for like a midnight launch or something, and you line up early enough, you might be able to get one of these consoles even if you didn't pre-order. So there is that as well. And then the last thing is, of course, the OLED, right? Could we see, like, again, kind of a just the same scenario with the Switch 1, where we get an OLED version halfway through, and then maybe like a Switch 2 Lite or something? It's possible. I don't know if Nintendo would want to do the exact same thing. They might want to switch it up a little bit, certain ways. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. I don't expect this to be a one-for-one with what the Switch was, but at the same time, the Switch was very successful. But at the same time, Nintendo especially never wants to do the same thing again and again and again. They're always looking to kind of switch things up and innovate and stuff as well. So you want to keep the formula that makes things successful, but also, build upon it and kind of switch it up and continue to innovate, because if not, you're just going to become stale over time and you're going to eventually see a decline. So you got to keep it, got to keep it going. Got to keep the Nintendo-esque kind of, thing kind of going. So let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends, game on. See you guys later.